I think I'm finally at the point where I gotta find some more shelves or rearrange this structure somehow. There's always stacks of books and they alternate here and there. And I'm going to be reading some books next month, this month, whatever. We'll talk about that. But a lot of them I won't. And so they're just there. There's always stacks. There's always stacks. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Theo. Thanks for hanging out with me. Let's talk about all the books that I'm going to try to read in March. March TBR, MBR, probably won't be R. You know how it goes. I'm going to try and read as much as I can in the month, but of course, life happens and I can only read what I can read. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about a couple books that are definitely going to be on my list, and probably there's going to be a little bit of a carryover into March from another book. And then I'm going to let you guys know all of the other books that are on my radar, all of the ones that are a little bit shorter that I keep eyeing on the shelf, on the stacks, but mostly on the shelves. When I try and slip in something that's a little bit shorter and manage kind of my monthly, page number, these are the ones that I'm going to try and fit in. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about some of them. The first one I actually don't have a physical copy of, which is kind of embarrassing, but that is Storm of Swords. That's book 3 in A Song of Ice and Fire. I alluded to the fact that one might trickle over into March. That is Clash of Kings. So I wrapped up the road long before you'll see this video, and I'm at the tail end of Clash of Kings, but work's been busy. This has been a short month, and I don't know if I'm going to quite finish it by the time this video comes out. So if Clash of Kings isn't quite wrapped up, that'll be the priority. I'm absolutely loving it. I cannot even explain how much I'm enjoying A Song of Ice and Fire. I can't believe it took me this long to read it, but I'm here now. I'm happy. I'm having a good time, all that stuff. So of course, Storm of Swords is going to be a priority. However, I have another book that I'm going to talk about first. And let me just pull it out here underneath the other stack of books. How tired are you guys of seeing this book on my goddamn TBR? This is Ship of Magic. You know it. I'm not even going to talk about it. What I will say is this will be the first book that I reach for the month of March. As soon as I'm ready to reach for a new book, it'll be Ship of Magic. I don't have to explain it. It's the live ship trilogy, Robin Hobb, blah, blah, blah. You guys already know it. If you watch this channel, I'm sure you know what this book is all about. So this will be the first brand new book for the month that I'll reach for, I promise. Then I will likely grab Storm of Swords because I'm thoroughly enjoying A Song of Ice and Fire. I can't wait to see what happens with some characters. I'm following along with this read along that's happening. You guys probably already know about it. There's going to be live show discussions. I've been part of one already for Game of Thrones. I was so honored to be, part of that as a first time reader. Again, if you don't already know, it's my first time reading the series and I'm having an absolute blast. I can't even tell you how much fun I'm having. I'm having fun. So I'm going to read Storm of Swords. Those two are chunky. I think combined, we're looking at, 1,800 pages or 1,700, whatever. They're both really chunky books. So then we go to another book that I want to prioritize because this book was chosen by my patrons. I asked my patrons to vote at the beginning, maybe a month or two ago, for kind of a patron pick in the first quarter of this year. Obviously, we're getting closer to the end of that quarter. So this book is going to be a priority, and this one is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I hear nothing but praise for this book. I hear the martial arts aspect of it and the influence in the battles and the fight sequences, the choreography or whatever you would call it in your head. Just the fight scenes are apparently very, very good because Fonda Lee is a martial artist. I don't know if she's a black belt. I think she's a black belt in Kung Fu. There's some jujitsu and stuff in here from what I understand. Very mafia family dynamic, very, political. It all revolves around magic derived from, I guess, jade, and some families control it. And then there's this drug that comes on the street. I guess it allows anyone to access this magic, something like that. I'm actually going to link a review in the description by Colin from Colin's Corner. He just did an excellent non-spoiler review for Jade City. I'm going to be having him on a Fireside Friday chat, I think this week. Go check out his video. Go check out his review. It's excellent. His content is amazing. New channel. Go show him some love. But yeah, this one I'm going to prioritize because it was a patron pick. And the way it became a patron pick is a lot of people voted for a book that they wanted me to read. Just off the cuff, whatever they wanted me to read. I said, I'll put it on a list and I'll draw. However, this book ended up getting multiple votes. So I think instead of just spinning a wheel and choosing a random one, I'm going to go with the one that was was mentioned more than once. And I think that's probably the fair way to go. So patrons, for all you guys watching, this is the patron pick. It won. I can't wait to finally get to this one. I have the other two behind me, Jade War and Jade Legacy, up top on the shelf that you can't see. So yeah, I think that I'll vibe quite a bit with this one. It's the type of urban fantasy that intrigues me and that I think I'll mesh with quite well. So curious about the writing style, curious about how the story progresses. I'll have to see if this is a hit, and if it is, I'll try and prioritize the rest of the series and enjoy myself. Booktube is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be a chore. It's supposed to be a good time, and reading is supposed to be fun. So I'm going to leave myself a little bit of mood reading opportunities, and I've selected a couple books that I continue to eye on my shelf, and I can sense that I'm getting close to being in the mood to picking one of these up at some point in the very near future. So I'm going to show you guys these ones. The first one is Legend of Blackjack. This is A.R. Witham's book. It's, I guess, like a portal fantasy, a little bit middle grade, but definitely darker in themes at some parts. It's about this kid Jack who gets kind of wished away into this world called Keymark. Lots of crazy things happen, magic, there's animals, there's like talking animals, there's tons of stuff happening, and it's supposed to be a very, very good time. And I don't know if I can read this before or not, but this is The Tales of the Border Knight. This is a novella, and I believe it's not a prequel. Maybe it's a prequel. Maybe it follows some specific characters in here. I think it's the Border Knight, like people or group. I don't know. I have no idea. That's why I want to read these, you guys. I have no idea. I don't know if I can read this before or if I need to read it after. I'm going to reach out to Andy and see what he says. If I can read this before, I might just pick this up because it's so thin. If I'm in the mood to check out Andy's writing, or to get maybe a little bit of a sample before getting into Legend of Blackjack, or if I don't have time and I only have time for something small, I'm going to slip something like this in. So that's why I might pick this one up. This is only like 390 pages and there's beautiful illustration. No, 400 pages, but there's illustrations. I've shown you guys these already. They're absolutely gorgeous. I'll show you a little bit like that. I have no idea if the camera's focusing right now, but maybe it is, maybe it's not, who knows? We will have to see when I edit. So yeah, I might slip this in. Either way, I'm going to read something from Andy at some point soon, I promise. It might not be this month. It might be, who knows? Everything is fluid. Booktube is fluid. Anyway, another book that I wanted to pick up soon, and I thought it was a lot shorter. I thought it looks like a 380, 400 page book, but now that I'm looking at it, it's like 550 pages. So I don't know if I'll be able to get to this one as a mood read or as a, slip this into the schedule. Cause again, I'm reading some chunky books as priority, but this is Brandon Sanderson's Elantris. This is a Cosmere novel. I read most of this a long time ago when it first came out. In fact, I think I read the whole thing. And I say that because I don't know the ending. Like I don't really remember what happens. Could have finished it, could have not finished it. Who knows? I want to work my way back through the Cosmere. I'll probably skip Mistborn and then maybe do Era 2 or go right into Stormlight. I've read a couple of Brandon Sanderson's books. Like I've read Era 1, I've read The Emperor's Soul. I've read, what else? One or two others. If I remember, I'll put them up here. I have read Elantris, but like I said, I don't really remember. So I'd like to go through this one. This is it's a Cosmere novel, but I think it's his take on like kind of Walking Dead, like zombie people or magic or something like that. Apparently his writing gets better, as he progresses. Obviously that would make sense. So I'm not going to judge him too harshly on this book. I just want a nice, fun Brandon Sanderson fantasy book, and I thought this was shorter than it was, but it's not. Again, I continue to see this on my shelf and I really want to get to this one and kind of go back before I get too far ahead. Go back and start again from the beginning of the Cosmere. The other book that I want to possibly read in the next month or two, which is shorter, is Tress of the Emerald Sea. I have the ebook. I'll put up the picture somewhere over here. And yeah, this one apparently is a really fun time, very well written. Kind of his take or the inspiration was from, The Princess Bride, and he kind of made that into a Cosmere fantasy story. It's narrated by, or I guess the story is told by a character that is recurring in the Cosmere that I know of, but I don't know of too well because I'm not as versed in the Cosmere as some of you might be. So I don't know, maybe let me know in the comments down below if I should read Tress earlier, or if I should read some other books before I get back to Tress in the Emerald Sea, so that I'm more acquainted with that one character that is basically telling the story. I don't know. Let me know. I'm open to that. Another book that I really want to read is a book that was gifted to me by Matt on Books. This is Legend by David Gemmell, and it's the 25th anniversary edition. It's actually quite sharp. I've wanted to read this one for a while. Thanks, Matt, for gifting it to me. Druss is one of the characters, or the main character. It is part of the Draenei series, and it is a series. And I've wanted to start with Legend for some time. It kicks off with a bang. Josh at Red Fury Books really liked it. I think I gifted this to him, to be honest. He wants to read everything by David Gemmell, so that puts it, high on my list, because I really respect his opinion, and he's very well read in fantasy and appreciates classic fantasy. So I think I'll mesh with this one. It says the stories of his life are told everywhere, but the grizzled veteran has spurned a life of fame and fortune and retreated to the solitude of his mountain lair. Blah, blah, blah. There's other stuff. I won't read the rest of it because I don't want to spoil too much, but it sounds like it would be up my alley. So this is another one that's small and potentially fit-inable. So yeah, that would be cool. Another one that I've been thinking to start at some point. I just don't know when I would. It's a standalone. I think it's actually a series, but not a series, but it's a series of books that are sort of interconnected, but not really. You can read it as a standalone, but this is Orconomics by J. Zachary Pike. And I wanted to read this one because I was talking to a friend of mine at work, and I brought this book up and I was like, why haven't I read this yet? I work in finance. I work in the corporate world. This is a satirical take on the corporate structure and the corporate world, corporate America, you could say. It's set against the backdrop of like a fantasy story with, orcs and fantasy characters and maybe a fantasy world from what I understand, but it really pokes fun at, in a very intelligent way, corporate America and, capitalism and stuff. So I think that this is sort of up my alley in terms of like what I do for work. I think this would blend in kind of a unique way my nerdy love of finance and business and money and fantasy books. This one is not too big. It's about 340 pages, including the epilogue I just saw. The font is not too small either. So yeah, these are all books that I continue to look at. I continue to want to get to. Again, my top priority is going to be Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin, A Song of Ice and Fire. I'm loving that. If you want to hear my thoughts as a first-time reader, maybe a review. It was supposed to be like a reaction video as a first-time reader to Game of Thrones, but it turned into a review. So if you want to see that review on a Game of Thrones by itself, you can check this video out over here. And if you want to see me tear apart and get heartbroken by some one-star reviews of some of my favorite books, but I also fight back because some of the opinions are ridiculous, you can watch this video over here. That was actually really fun to make, and I hope you have a good time with it because it was fun. And yeah, I'm curious what you guys are reading in March. Maybe leave me a comment on what you're most excited to read in March. Are you reading anything from the list that I've shown? Are you reading anything that I'm committed to reading? Any of the books that I might try and fit in? Let me know down below. Again, guys, if you like the vibe, go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate you being here, and I'll catch you real soon on the next video.